Here we have a car that was compared to the E36 BMW M3, an engine that was co-developed with Porsche, and it made Car and Driver's top 10 best sedans list 3 years in a row. Yet, all people ever talk about when it comes to starter cars is Miatas and Civics and 240XX and well, I'm here to tell you guys there's another alternative out there. It comes with 4 doors, which means cheap insurance. It also means mom and dad will approve. It's a V6, which will save you on gas. Came option only with a 5-speed manual. And the best part, it's literally cheaper than dirt. You guys won't believe how insultingly cheap this hidden gem is. Ladies and gentlemen, this is before you buy a Ford Contour SVT. Now, the Contour SVT was developed from 1997 to 2000. If you're in the market for one of these, stick with the 99 to 2000 model years. That's where they received a bump that put the horsepower numbers up to 200 with 170 pound-feet of torque, which, by the way, is light years ahead of the freaking 90 horsepower Miata, 155 horsepower 240SX, and 140 horsepower Honda Civic. Now, with the exception of the Civic, you might think, well, that the rear-wheel drive Miata and 240SX have an advantage over the Contour SVT, those two being rear-wheel drive, as opposed to the front-wheel drive Contour. But that's where I'd have to say you're wrong, Junior. You see, the Contour SVT came standard with a front strut and multi-link rear suspension with passive rear steering. Okay, this car was doing things that electronically controlled cars did, but it was doing it mechanically. For example, as the suspension loads, the toe changes, which ends up making it a neutral handling car. The car handled so well, actually, around the corners that auto journalists everywhere were comparing it to the E36 BMW M3. The Contour's SVT 2.5 liter V6 was also developed alongside Porsche. This wasn't some cheap cookie cutter Ford engine with new cams, a larger diameter throttle body, hyper-eutectic pistons, a high capacity air cleaner, an oil cooler, and a lighter flywheel. Mix that in with a 2.25 inch stainless steel exhaust system that splits into dual mufflers with polished tips that it sang one of the sweetest V6 songs of the 90s. 0 to 60, 7.5 seconds. Quarter mile, low 15s. Now, one thing the Contour SVT received a lot of backlash for was the Highway Safety Administration. You see, it had a tendency to... I can't believe I'm reading this. It had a tendency, I quote, it has a tendency to cut occupants' legs off during severe head-on collision. It was also a huge pain in the ass to work on due to the engine layout that made even the most basic repairs, for example, such as changing an alternator, take all weekend to do. But all that can be forgiven due to its insanely cheap price. As you guys can see, under $2,000 gets you a hyper-handling 3,100 pound 4-door V6 sedan that can keep up with Mustangs of its same years, and it can outcorner sports cars that cost 20 times as much.